This is What a week.
What a week. Politricks.
Eta, welcome to another episode of Wow What a Week, #Politricks with Fresh and Botsang. This week in Politricks, we track a judiciary under pressure, political maneuvering in Johannesburg, global geopolitical shifts, and a Labour appeal court ruling that lands right at our own doorstep. As Ad-Hoc goes into recess and the Madlanga Commission hits its midterm stride, South Africans are left asking themselves the hard questions. Questions about accountability, leadership, and our place on the global stage. My name is Fresh, his name is Botsang, and you're stuck with us for the next hour. Welcome, brother.
Good morning, Fresh. Morning to the followers, the viewers.
What's up?
It could have never been a better week. You know, one has to be honest. We generally ask Oshapo, I am fabulous.
Yes, sir.
I am very good.
Now, when I met you 3 years ago and proposed, it will be 3 years in what, February, March?
In February, we'll be 3 years doing this project.
Exactly. When I met you back then, I didn't even know that you'd been fired from work.
Yes, I was fired 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 years. You've been fighting this thing. It went to the CCMA. I remember you left the CCMA very happy that the CCMA said you'd been unfairly dismissed.
Yes.
And that you must be reinstated and paid the back pay.
Yeah.
And they continue to fight the thing. And it's been through the courts over the last 3 years. And I think your legal abilities have been sharpened over the last 3 years.
Right. Yeah. Look, I think I owe it to you and to some of the followers and the viewers of this show who have been asking now and then, Botsang, what happened at work? Why were you fired? When is the case ending? It's been 3 years of hell, and I've resisted, Fresh, to talk about what actually happened. I've written a book. I've told about the whole story. And then I couldn't publish it because the case has been sub judice. It's not really over. But the good news is this week on Wednesday, the 3rd, I received a Labour Appeal Court judgment or decisional order regarding what I had appealed. And it came out in my favor. An absolute favor, if you may call it that way. After the CCMA, you know, the state owed me almost R1 million, 967,000. They paid me 3 years back and I went back to work. And they decided to use 3.8 million to fight me. Instead of paying me 1 million, just below 1 million.
So they used our taxes.
And that is what is the problem in this country, that I'm fighting a giant. I'm fighting a state entity which is having representatives who are using not their resources, they are using your taxes to can fight this case. But you know, I was determined and I bent on two things. The wheels of justice were delayed. And if I didn't push some of them to turn, they would have not turned. And I don't have money, I'm not employed, I don't have income. I relied on friends and my knowledge of the law to represent myself. And what irritated me is at some stage, Fresh, in court, the state came with a senior counsel, an attorney, and a junior counsel, an attorney assistant or candidate attorney, that's what they call them, and a senior manager-in-law at work who's an attorney, about 5. And I was standing there all by myself fighting these people. But I bent on the truth. You bent on the truth, and time was not on my side. You lose properties, your kids suffer, and throughout all that. But I've seen these things happening in government. I've seen government departments and entities dragging officials, not politicians, civil servants like me to courts, draining them, and people commit suicide. People go on drugs, become alcoholics, go into depression. They lose everything. And I use that to say, not under my watch, not under my name. But one thing that I resisted to do was to talk about my case in public. You yourself have pushed me for the last 2 years to say, dude, go into public with this and tell the people the story. Use the media to pressure. And I resisted to that because that's what they expected me to do. You understand? I never did that. I never did what they expected. I had to fight on the street, to fight in court, and to also fight spiritually and mentally to be alert. I mean, people see me in front of these cameras almost every week, and people think this guy is okay.
Yes.
He's lacquered with fresh. Yeah, but so far, I would want to say justice has prevailed. It delayed. It's not yet over.
Yes.
But there's a movement.
But B, I think let's step back a bit just to give people a bit of context, because obviously you won at the CCMA, then it was taken to the Labour Court,
Yes.
and things were drawn out. And then it reached a point where your case was heard,
Yes.
and you realized that there were documents that are fraudulent
Yeah.
in the file. What happened there?
Actually, this started during the internal, because now when we went from the CCMA to the Labour Court,
Sure.
the employer brought issues that were never before the CCMA, issues that I was cleared in internal disciplinary hearing. They had investigated me 5 times before internally, and in all 5 times I was cleared. Now, when we were having the internal disciplinary hearing, one of the documents that they tried to use that I was wrongly appointed in 2010, 2011, it was fraudulent, and it was discovered by one of their witnesses that it's a fraudulent document. I never imagined that they will take chances and put it in court papers. Yeah, you understand? And only when we went to the court, we discovered that fresh. It was so amazing that they had sneaked that document into the court file, not my file. So the court had a document that I did not have. That's number one. And we brought it to the attention of the judge. Number two, that document was not certified. It was not original. It had no name, no date, no signature, nothing. And it was fraudulent. And the judge still continued to use that document and relied on it as piece of evidence amid my protest. But I didn't leave it there. And when she made a judgment and a ruling, that's when I went to the Labour Appeal Court. And my case is sub judice until on Wednesday. It was sub judice, and I that's why I never want to speak about it, because it was before the Labour Appeal Court. And I appealed to the court to say, she didn't even stop there, the judge or presiding officer. She even refused me leave to appeal.
Oh, wow.
And I said,
So she shut the whole thing down.
She shut the whole thing down. And at the end of the whole thing, I decided, you know what, I'll use the kamikaze style. You go for the jugular. I went for the Minister of Justice. I went out in the media. I went to the Labour Appeal Court, and I said, this is fraudulent decision. And the court came with a judgment and said, they are granting me leave to appeal. That's number one, which is good. But the other most important thing is the Labour Appeal Court has said the entire decision of that judge, they are placing it on review. So they've granted me to place the wholly, as a whole.
And this was like a full bench of 3. Unanimously decided,
yes.
Felt like you'd been denied justice.
Which is very, appreciative, and which is very compelling. If 3 senior judges, including the judge president of the Labour Appeal Court, says, no, this was not right, let it be reviewed. And it shows that I have personally presented, and by the way, I did everything on my own, personally.
Yes.
Presented a very strong case. You can't base a case on lies. On the other hand, I informed the board of directors of the Cross-Border Road Transport Agency that I've laid criminal charges against them as the board and the CEO. I've opened a case. It's sitting with the Hawks and NPA for fraud. The people don't want you at work. Instead of buying you out and releasing you fair and squarely legally, they even commit fraud. That's how much they don't want Botsang in this whole thing. The sad part about this whole thing, Fresh, is that the first person I was supposed to tell about this outcome was my mother, then you and anybody else. I even talked to my mother because I didn't know how to approach it. I asked my sister to do it, and she said she's going to ask for explanation. What does it mean now? Is he going to work? I'm like, you see, I don't want to explain that. I'm not going to work. There's still a battle going on, but we are on a positive step ahead. Because my mom, when this came up, said to me, Botsang, this time around, you are not leaving this government. You are going to fight this to the bitter end. And the marching orders were given, bro. When a mother says, we are going to fight this to the end, those were marching orders.
Yes.
But justice has prevailed. I've got an upper hand. The wheels of the courts are rolling. And I think the advantage I'm sitting with, and not only for me, this is a lesson to the general public in South Africa. The fact that the high courts of South Africa, particularly Gauteng, and the Labour Court now this year, they've gone electronic. Nobody can steal papers on files. Nobody can bribe people in court to insert documents. Everything is done on court online system. So once you have filed a document there and you have filed it erroneous, you can't just delete it. You must file the corrective one. And you understand, and everything that happens on the online court system, I can see what they're doing. They can see what I'm doing. And I think that's a fair game. We're playing on fair ground.
Yes.
But bro, to you, followers, viewers, and those who have been supporting me, thanks a lot. It's not the end, it's the beginning of a battle.
What do you think should happen to this justice that allowed for the admissibility? The admissibility of a form that you yourself said this is fraudulent. At some stage, your CV was edited and submitted.
Yes. You know, the CV they used in my internal hearing was correct. It was my CV of 2010 with my signature and date. The one they put on a court file, it's something edited, augmented, and with lies. Look, I can't say what should happen to the judge. Now, I'm still doing my homework and informing myself. But you remember 3 or 4 weeks back, we spoke, I can't remember whether it was on this platform or on the radio. We spoke about how acting judges are not subject of the Judicial Service Commission. This was an acting judge. If it was a full judge, I would have written to the Judicial Service Commission. But they are not subject to that. I can't go to the Judicial Service Commission and I can't go to the advocate's bar to complain.
Yes.
So I must find where do I do. But I also don't want to do it when the matter is still being reconsidered.
Sure.
Until the final judgment and final order, of which I must do in the next 60 days. What do I want out of this? And what do I want? It's very simple. There's a CSMA order. I must go back to work. Pay me back my money and I'll go to work. If you don't want me, do it correctly.
Yes.
There's laws.
There are remedies to
There are remedies, you understand? And you can't accuse me of doing something wrong that I didn't do. If you stand up and say, I've employed you wrong 13 years back, then correct your wrongdoings. Don't blame me that pack and go because I employed you wrong and create the impression that I didn't have qualifications, I misled about qualifications, or I lied and I didn't qualify for the job. Don't do that. Do the right thing, correct the wrongs that has happened. But again, that is the justice system in the country. And that's the challenge we are sitting on. But the mistake these people did, Fresh, is that some of us are born fighters. I was not going to let this slip through my fingers. It's my life. I'm in my 50s. What are the chances of me getting a job and after leaving a job in inverted commas with a dismissal? So I had to fight, and what they underestimated is my level and drive of fighting.
How much fight you have in you?
My brother, I will fight.
No, I'm saying they underestimated how much fight you have in you.
Yes.
Because often when there's a David and Goliath court issue, Goliath will try and exhaust David.
Yes.
With unnecessary back and forth in the hope that, you know what, I'm going to walk away from this thing. It's costing me too much.
Yeah. But they had two things.
Yeah.
They had money and they had the political power. I had two things. I have faith.
And the truth.
Yeah. And that's all I have. They can use their money. They can use their politics. I don't have the money. I'm not scared of politicians. But I have faith, and the truth always comes out. I always tell people that everything about the truth is correct. It's good, except one thing. The truth always takes time.
Yeah.
But it eventually comes out. And when it comes out, people get vindicated. But sometimes it comes out too late when the damage is done. Absolutely. When people are damaged and carriers are damaged. But yeah, so far, it's a very victorious. I feel good. I haven't had a good sleep since February. I've been keeping a brave face here. And people have been thinking, you know better, my brother. You spend more time with me than anybody else. And thanks for those who have been inboxing, writing. When we were on 938 radio, again, fresh again. My sister was listening on Thursday morning and said, Botsang, I thought you believe in God, Umudimu Wameka, that fresh, it's a real godsend. When that gentleman, Dave, the advocate, listened to my story on radio and volunteered his services, and he even called and emailed me and said, I will come with 2 advocates to come and fight your case for free. And my sister was like, again, it's fresh in the forefront on radio, bring up your case, and there's people who are willing to help. Because I never asked for help.
Sure.
I never screamed out for help. I fight my battles lonely,
Sure.
like a true guerrilla. I don't want
Even me, I have to force him to take help. Sometimes I won't tell him. Sometimes I just say, here's petrol, my mate.
No, thanks, Fresh. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the story. Look, this is a lesson to people. Why am I talking about this? To thank the followers and the supporters and you, but also a lesson to the people in the country that many civil servants are being abused. We saw it. We heard it in the Madlanga.
Many are home.
Many are home. I'm not even worried about people who are home and earning salaries. I'm worried about people like me who have lost their income.
Yes.
They've lost their properties. People have gone into depression. When you are home and you are still earning your salary, you may still look for a job and the salary is coming. People who are 3 years home and they're still earning.
Yeah.
But it's very evil, and that's one thing that the act that we spoke about 2 weeks back, that the president has to sign, the new amendment of the Public Service Act. Once that act is signed, it's going to separate political office bearers from civil servants. And I think it's a good thing.
It's overdue.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move to security in our courts. Shooting outside Athlone court. These shootings are very brazen. I mean, we've had shootings outside courts in Johannesburg even, where witnesses are taken out.
Yes.
There was, I think, is it KT Molefe?
Yes.
His bodyguards were found with armed.
Yes.
Heavily outside a court in Johannesburg.
Yes, in Alexander.
Yes, let's talk about what's going on with security at our courts.
Look, it's as you said, it's prison and people have been killed in courts, especially in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
We have seen it in the Eastern Cape as well. We have seen it in Gauteng. The Minister of Justice, Mamuluku Kubai, has talked about it and raised concerns about how witnesses are being killed in courts. Also, remember there was another case, I think it was in Wynberg, the Western Cape, where actually a witness was killed on the 6th floor of a court building. Now in Athlone, during the course of this past week, 2 witnesses were gunned down on the doorsteps of the court. And you mentioned Mr. KT Molefe. Those who will recall is that Mr. Molefe is also one of the alleged people who has been mentioned in this commission and Ad-Hoc committees. He's out on a bail of 400,000 for allegations of being the mastermind behind the murder of people like DJ Somebody and so forth. He was in court during the week in Alexander Court for his own bail for something else, but he was in court for a totally different matter. And his bodyguards were found sitting in a car outside the court, 2 bodyguards, and both of them armed with AKM assault rifles and ammunition, and they are not licensed. So it's illegal firearms. And he's on bail. You know what I said? The police were not smart to act and apprehend those people there. He's on bail. They should have waited for him to drive with the bodyguards and find him in the vehicle, because he would also be accused of being in a vehicle with illegal arms. Then he forfeits his bail. But thinking of it also differently, I think the police did not know what those people are waiting there for. And what if they let him, or they let those people execute what they wanted to do? So you said, so the police work, the police have done great work. And we have seen since General Mukwana's media briefing, we have seen how police have upped their game in South Africa. Again, during the course of this week, inside the court, in the Senzo Mewiwa case, you know that the case was adjourned in the middle of the hearing.
I hear that there were some people in court attending the case that had been monitored quite a bit, and it seems like they might have been waiting to pounce or hit one of the witnesses.
We don't know if it's one, but according to the police report, is that one, they've confiscated the electronics. They're out, they released them, and they picked them up in court, and they say they've been monitored for quite some time. Their duty to come to court was to target some of the people involved in the case. And when you look at who are the people involved in the case, is the witnesses and the alleged or the accused, it is the prosecutor, it is the lawyers, and the judge. Now, I don't think criminals will want to kill their own lawyers and all that. So who's at risk is the prosecutor and the judge. And again, it shows how risky is this. Even if, and they would even come inside the court.
Yeah.
We know that judges have bodyguards and prosecutors, most probably, depending on the case you are handling. But if you have a bodyguard, the bodyguard works with you until at what point?
Yes.
Or when you leave the court to your car, when you leave your car to your house, when does the bodyguard end? So this is what is intimidating a lot of people in the justice system to do their job properly. You know, there are those who cannot be bribed. If you can't be bribed, you get killed. And now we are making our civil servants, because a prosecutor is a civil servant. They're doing their job. And if you can't bribe them, you want to kill them. And I think it's very worrying that people are not allowed to conduct their work because of criminality. And I don't know, what can the government do? You can't be having people living with bodyguards.
Yes.
You know, we had accountants.
Also at whose expense?
Also at whose expense. But this tells me how brazen criminals are in South Africa and the extent they are prepared to go.
Yes.
You know, for their criminality. And this happens when we are in the middle of a commission of inquiry into the alleged corruption, you know, cartels, infiltration of the police and the justice system. And you can see, Fresh, how deep this thing is and how bad it is. That we are under siege, actually, as citizens in South Africa. Because if criminals are so brave that they can go into courts and take policemen head on, what about normal citizens like me and you, a normal and average South African who's not armed, who can protect themselves? And that's the kind of a situation we are. The level of crime in South Africa, in my opinion, it's beyond a normal crime. We have the highest murder statistics, you know, like for civilians, the rapes and assault on not only GBV, general assault in South Africa. Honestly speaking, I'm not a criminologist. I'm not a law enforcer. I do not know what more can the government do. And then we have organizations that are gun-free society. They don't want individuals to arm themselves to protect themselves. The police are not capable of doing it, or the police are compromised. It's a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's move to what happened in Madlanga,
Yes.
because it's been quite a week.
Yeah.
Dr. Imogen was there for what, 2 days?
2 days, yes.
And I know that you almost have this feeling that depending on how well spoken or not a person is likely to determine how they are addressed
And perceived, yeah.
and perceived, even by the public.
Yes.
You even saw
Commissioner Julius Kwanazi.
Julius Mkwanazi.
Yes. And also with Brown Mokgotsi.
Yes, that a lot of people are on some. It's almost like you're judged on your level of confidence and arrogance.
And your eloquence and how you can present your case.
Sure.
Understand? And look, Fresh, we may say we are now reviewing this whole thing because it's midterm for Madlanga Commission. They have to present a midterm report to the president, I think by mid-December, if I'm not mistaken. The date is the 17th of December. And in reflection, I watched almost all, including the Ad-Hoc committee. On the reflection of how things transpired, there's 2 things that I've picked up. And I don't want to talk about the content and the merits that the witnesses have presented. I am looking at the optics and the conduct in the proceedings. One, we are not in a court of law. And I had differences with social media lawyers and true lawyers. There is something we call a public court. That's when everybody opinionates there, even those who think and claim to know the law. Then there's the legal processes and procedures, okay? I am one of the people who always say, whether we like our laws or not, but it's the laws, they are there. The laws that are applied in court is not the same laws that are applied in places like commissions or inquiries and all those. So those are soft areas. And I was arguing with one of my friends, Advocate Mbada. I was saying to him, Advocate, but I like Advocate Sillo at the Madlanga Commission, and others, but I don't think they are being fair towards other witnesses. They conduct themselves, in my observation, as if the witnesses are not equal. And Fresh, for me, because this is a commission of inquiry, there's no the accused and the accuser. They are all witnesses. Whether you are Julius Mkwanazi or Nhlanhla Mkwanazi or Ket Matlala or Dr. What is her name? Ingones Mama Makaza. They are all equal. They are all witnesses.
Sure.
There's no criminal yet. We are having an inquiry to determine if there was criminality. So I think also when you look at a person like Brown Mokhoti and Julius Mkwanazi, to be a policeman, you need matric. Julius Mkwanazi is a policeman. Even if he studied police diplomas after he was already a director. But you look at the way he conducted himself. They are not eloquent people. Them presenting their stories is not aligned. Now, the public court has already said, hi, they are lying. That's why they're behaving like this. That's why you understand? I don't think, I'm not going to focus on the public court. I'm going to focus on what is happening inside. There's a lady at the Madlanga Commission who's one of the commissioners. I just forgot her name, but she's the only lady in the commissioners. She has helped quite a lot. You could see experience of the jury. You could see the way she asks questions. She's very patient.
Yes.
Because I think she has an understanding to say, this person may not be eloquent.
Sure.
This person may be lying. This person may be telling the truth, but they are incapable of putting their case forward. And I really appreciate the way that justice was helping the witnesses to say, no, we are not here to fight you. Make us understand your side of the story. However, on the other side, also fresh is, I think, taking an overall review of what happened with the Madlanga Commission and the Ad-Hoc committee since the inception. In the Ad-Hoc committee, which is on recess now, they are playing politics. All those politicians there, it depends who do you favor, on whose side are you, but they are playing politics, which then they are missing an opportunity because that's a legislated committee of parliament. But the Madlanga Commission has actually presented a case in front of us as the nation and the president that the allegations of Lieutenant General Mkwanazi of the 6th of July have come out to say that's the truth.
Yes.
Understand? And why am I saying it's the truth? It has been corroborated by many witnesses differently, even those that are accused by Lieutenant General Mkwanazi, Nhlanhla Mkwanazi, like Brown Mokhoti,
yes,
Ket Matlala, who's the other one? This Julius Mkwanazi. What he accused them of, they've come to confirm that yes, we've been doing these things. It was not illegal. They gave their reasons, whether they are telling the truth or not, but they have confirmed what he had said. It's happening in the police. The chief of staff in Mr. Senzo Mchunu, Minister Mchunu's office, has confirmed the engagements with Mokhotsi, with Matlala. Becky Cele has confirmed, Matlala himself has confirmed. But so we are sitting in a situation where we are saying as a nation, there is an element of truth. The police, the judiciary, the prosecuting authority have been infiltrated by the alleged criminal cartels. There's been engagements, whether civil or criminality, that were not supposed to happen, and they are happening. And these people that have infiltrated this police, it's not only the national police. Look at Ekurhuleni municipality. It is actually the local government police, like Metro Police. We don't know how many more of this come. I don't think the government should drag the Madlanga Commission or the Ad-Hoc committee beyond the given dates. I think they must wrap up. We already have evidence enough.
Often people talk about how patriarchy is as successful as it is because often women are complicit in what men are able to get away with.
Yes. And
looking at Dr. Imogen's testimony and looking at the allegations that were made allegedly by a lot of female officers.
Yes.
That she had an opportunity to do something about it.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was an administrator fearing the consequences of standing up against a political appointee or someone from the police.
Yes.
So instead of, for instance, doing anything about these allegations, she instead decided for the female police officers, we're going to create a problem a program that will either fast track or allow for them to have promotion opportunities. That's a problem, surely. Or does it just reflect what a lot of administrators in governments, not just in this country, but everywhere else, are dealing with? That I want to do my job, but there's this interference.
Yeah. Fresh, I always say I've been in government administration as a civil servant and mostly at very senior position, at executive and senior management level. Bro, it is hard. It takes a special kind of a person and breed to be a civil servant, a pure civil servant, where you are not appointed by politicians.
Sure.
Now, if we're going to use the example of the doctor in Ekurhuleni, who was in a very senior position, actually, it is the highest ranking official of the metro. Because you are
municipal manager.
A municipal manager,
yes.
or they call them, the metro manager. That's the highest ranking administrative position. You are like the chief executive officer of a metro, and a metro as big as Ekurhuleni. And she's seasoned and she's experienced in doing that. But if you are in that position, and on one hand, you've got politicians from various political parties. Remember, Ekurhuleni changed leadership of political parties during her 2 terms, because she had 2 terms there.
Yeah.
It changed 3 times. There was ANC at some stage, then there was the Democratic Alliance, then there was a joint with the EFF and all that. And you have to deal with these political heads. I am not excusing what happened, but I'm explaining the difficulty.
Yes.
You have that on one hand, and you are not a political appointee. On the other hand, you are occupying a position where on the left side, it's a law enforcement entity, which is the Ekurhuleni Metro Police, led by male chauvinists. It's male-dominated historically. It's led by male, absolute males. If you look at the people who have been appearing at the Madlanga Commission from the Ekurhuleni Metro, it's male-dominated. And then women are suppressed in those lower positions. And as you said, Fresh, that all over the world, there's that thing, especially in law enforcement. You can talk to soldiers and police where sex is being used. Sex pets are being used, pets, and where people, women in this particular instance, in order to grow up, they must render sexual favors and all that. We can talk as we want, and people say, but bring evidence. Why are they quiet? Like I said at the beginning, it takes a special administrator to stand up, because people are fearing to lose their jobs. People are fearing to be victimized, both politically and criminally. We saw some of the witnesses in Ekurhuleni. I forgot just the name of the lady who was the spokesperson.
Oh, she even broke down.
She even broke down. She was moved from her position. Her life was threatened twice. You understand? She was kidnapped. Her life was threatened. And that lady arrived at a stage. She was not junior. She arrived at a stage that said, if it is my life that is being threatened, I will do whatever they say. If they say, go and sit there at the airport in the corner and do the job. And that's why. But now, here where we come, people who take senior positions in government, like the Dr. Imogen's position, they should be prepared to take the hit on. Because once you rise to a senior position, you must be prepared to say, not under my signature, not under my name, I am going to stand by the people. Yes, I clap hands for her to introducing a program to can aid women to can grow in their rank. But if you introduce that program and you ignore the criminality of the alleged sex pest in the organization, you are not helping it. She was in a position to can go to, for example, the executive mayor, or even to report it to the national police, to say, I'm sitting with a problem here where my officers are complaining in corners.
Yes.
Officials, not officers, officials. And I want to bring a program so that they can grow in their careers. But then there's an issue of intimidation. There's an issue of people who have to pay with their bodies to can get a job and all that. But for somebody sitting outside may say, Botsang is talking comfortably. He's the brave one. He's not prepared to, he's prepared to die, or he's prepared to lose his job. You understand? It's not everybody who is in that position. But it demonstrates the level of corruption and inhumanity civil servants are subjected to. That's why I will welcome any arrest, any exposure, and any amendment to the law that is going to protect the civil servants. Because it's not nice, bro. I can tell you, it is not nice. One day we'll talk about, before I was fired, what actually happened. What actually led to to me being fired for co-publishing my biography, because I was fired for that. I was fired for co-publishing my book. You understand? So, but what led to that? When you sit in front of a political deploy, that's another problem. People are deployed from political parties. The ANC has even a deployment committee. It's not a secret. And then somebody is deployed to say, take care of the minister while you are doing your job. Do ABCD. The minister wants ABCD. Put the minister in your program. And I have nothing to do with the minister. And then when you refuse, you become enemy of the state. You are regressive. You are insubordinate and all of those things. And I'm saying, I hope the Madlanga Commission and the Ad-Hoc committee process and this eye-opening process in the country will aid to expose and protect the civil servants. Yeah. But the good thing that has happened in wrapping up on the Madlanga Commission thing and the Ad-Hoc committee, one good thing has happened and has come out of this, unlike all other commissions we have had. As the commission work is continuing, the National Prosecuting Authority, the Hawks, which is the specialized division of the police, South African Police Services and courts, they are charging, arresting, prosecuting, sentencing.
There's movement.
There is movement.
Parallel to the processes.
That is the positive part of this whole thing.
Exactly.
That the prosecuting and the judicial process are happening on the side. People are being prosecuted. And then there's a civil side. The civil side is people who were wrongly removed from their positions are going back to their positions. Those who were unfair on suspensions, like General Kumalo of the SAPS, they are getting back their jobs. People are being reinstated in their positions. Those who were orchestrating these things against the civil servants are now being suspended from work, are now being charged, their decisions are being reversed. That is the positive side of this. Unfortunately, not for the Botsangs who had to rely for their own courts. Yes. But the positive side is the police are doing their work. They are arresting people every day. They are charging people every day. Organizations and state entities are suspending people, are firing people for the right reasons.
Sure.
And for me, that's a green leaf I'm taking from this whole process.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. Let's jump quickly into Trump and the continued snubbing of South Africa.
Yes, sir.
When you go to G20.org,
yes,
there's a nice picture there of Donald Trump with an Amandla post, a Mandela.
Is that the G20 or is it his
G20.org? And my understanding is the G20 website is a website that represents 20 members.
Exactly.
Who are founding members of the G20.
Yes.
It's not an American website. Can we talk about the snubbing? And are we going to have a typical toothless when there is superpower aggression, the way it happens with the UN and other nations, where, if there's the bully in the building, everyone kind of tiptoes around them. Do you think the G19 I want to tiptoe around Trump regarding how South Africa is clearly, they're trying to exclude South Africa. The Sherpas met now.
Yeah.
South Africa was not there.
Yes. Look, Fresh, I think the advantage with multilateral formations like the G20 is because they have their own protocols. Unlike the UN, it has the bullies there and the so-called big five who are members of the Security Council and they've got veto powers. Okay, with the G20 everybody's equal. Nobody's above another one, and it has its own protocols. What Donald Trump and the United States are doing towards South Africa, it is contrary to the protocols of the G20. It is unjust, and it is also even contrary to the Vienna Convention that determines on how diplomatic relations, multilateral engagements are supposed to be governed. And I think it is up to the member states, the other 18 member states of the G20 to rise and say, but what nonsense is this? The slap on their face is, did you see what Donald Trump and the Americans did? They didn't invite South Africa, which is not supposed to work with invitation. They invited Poland, who is not a member. Poland is not a member of the G20. Yes. And they said they will invite other countries as observers. For me, I picked that specifically. They said they will invite all other countries as observers, but only for the opening and what. Poland is invited as a permanent observer. So actually and technically, Poland is taking the position of South Africa. They don't have the veto powers. They can't vote, but they will sit in the process.
But invited by who?
by the Americans.
But surely 20 members of a club must decide if we're going to invite someone permanently.
From the coming week, actually, when the Sherpas finish their work this weekend and all that, we are going to see now what other member states have done. Did they send their full Sherpas? Did they participate? What are they saying? What is their position towards America to say, but for this party to happen, we are supposed to be 20 people sitting here. One of us is missing. Why is one of us not here? And as some diplomats, when I said they should boycott, this other country must boycott, some diplomats said, no, don't boycott. They should go in there and take a resolution. Understand? Unlike boycotting, those who are there may decide to say, you are not there.
You were not there. We moved without you.
Yes, and I think America was banking on that other people will boycott or must boycott this. But it's better to go there and take a resolution against the United States to say, we are taking a resolution that this G20 will not happen in the U.S. when one of ours is not here. Let's rather take it somewhere.
Yes.
Or let's rather, there's already even talks that they may even want to say, let's jump the 2026. We'll take it to the next one, which is the UK 2027. And that's how the Americans should be treated. But I also observed how the Republic of South Africa, especially Derrico and the presidency, they're doing very well. I think they are becoming polished and cooked in dealing with this man, Donald Trump. Sometimes, Fresh, when you are in a battlefield or in conflict or in an argument with a person who is bully and doesn't make sense and rowdy, the best way to defeat such a person is to actually ignore that person. Sometimes just keep quiet.
Because they thrive off that tension.
Yes, they thrive with that tension.
That's why, like I said to you the other day, I was actually happy that Trump was not at the G20 summit in Johannesburg because he would have become the main show. It would have become a circus, and it might have actually diverted attention from what the real issues are.
Yes. And the party went on, the G20 2025 went on without the Americans, and there was no drama.
Yes.
They were left with an egg on their face, and that's why they are reacting now. What they are doing now, it's a reaction. Our diplomatic relations with the United States is already strained. It's at its worst state. Even during apartheid, it was never this worst state.
Yeah.
And I don't see any repairs at the moment until America starts respecting South Africa as a sovereign state, until America starts respecting other member states of the G20 or any other multilateral organization. Like they did now with the Ukraine or NATO-Russia war. Did you see what they did? They issued a statement that they are withdrawing their support to NATO or for the fight in Ukraine, of which the American contribution to NATO, whether it's coffers or it's 70%. And there are other member states in Europe, members of NATO and others, 70% they are withdrawing it just because Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is refusing to sign the proposed deal or peace settlement deal.
It's a crap deal.
Yeah, there's a crap deal, and then now America is sitting in Poland. Russia is not backing off, and Zelensky. And I don't know why the Europeans or other member states of NATO and Ukraine itself did not see this coming. Sure. Why did they trust the Americans, especially under Donald Trump administration? I'm glad the war it will end and people will stop dying, but it's a lesson to nations of the world. To rely on a bully, it has never been the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, one thing that's been also happening is obviously Trump is fashioning himself as this, I bring peace. I'm the peace dealer. And the fact that the DRC and Rwanda this week,
yes.
Is this really a peace deal or is it a minerals deal?
It's a minerals deal, all of them. You look at the peace deal with Russia and Ukraine. It's a minerals deal of Ukraine and occupation of Poland and Ukraine. You look at the proposed peace deal between Rwanda and the Congo.
Sure.
It is the minerals deal because they want to go and give protection of the minerals there. Everywhere where they are going, they are talking about now protecting America against drugs to that thing, to the U.S., but it's about oil in in Venezuela. You understand? There's no peace. You look at the Palestinian-Israel deal, it's about occupying Palestine. It's about taking over Gaza and turn it into a tourist place and control it for the benefit of the US and America. So that can never be a peace deal. When you say, I'll stop firing bullets or supplying bullets to the aggressor on condition you give me part of your land and your minerals, that can never be peace. It's postponement of a war or worsening a situation.
Absolutely.
And America's been doing it for over 50 years. And the world must bring that to an end. And the only way to bring this to an end is to isolate the United States. And other countries must start working together. Isolate them. Other countries can trade without the US. Yes, they will suffer at the beginning, especially those that have been dependent on the US. We will have neocolonialism. And as we'll have the Chinese and the Russians and others who are recolonizing. But it is up to the African and Latin America or global South countries to say, we are now clever. We can't be recolonized. But we are going to stop dealing with the aggressors who are actually making sure that we remain in poverty and squalor while they are extracting our minerals for their own benefit. And I just hope countries like the DRC, Rwanda, South Africa, Poland, and many other countries of the South, like Venezuela and Brazil, they don't fall into that trap. They don't fall into the trap that America is a peacemaker. An aggressor you can't go to a peace negotiated meeting while you are having a Kalashnikov stripped on your shoulder and hand grenades in your bag. What kind of peace is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the world in multilateral forums must unite, not against America. Don't fight them, isolate them, ignore them. That's the best form of fighting an aggressor, a bully. You know, they're like people on the road rage. What do you do when you have a bully on the road? You just drive away. The bullies remain there frustrated. And that's what we should do to the United States.
Because sometimes what it is they feed off that tension.
Yes.
Eventually, if you don't feed the fire, if you don't feed the beast realize that there's nothing left to eat here.
There's nothing left. Yes, my brother.
Absolutely.
Yes,
brother, we are out of time.
Okay.
But people can continue the conversation and the debate online.
That's right.
Where do we find you online?
botsangm@gmail.com. And then 083-884-7787 is the WhatsApp to order books or to offer me legal services. And also at Botsang M on all social media handles.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother man.
Brother man, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to the followers and the viewers.
Wow, what a week. Hashtag Politricks with Fresh and Botsang, coming to you from Discover TV in 4 ways. Let them be your stage. Shout out to Trevor and his crew at Pezulu Works for the cinematography, Kelezo Modisa King, our executive producer, and most importantly, you for engaging, sharing, subscribing, and being a part of the conversation. Keep it going at the bottom of the screen on our YouTube, and share. Copy, paste the link, and share. Until next week, have an incredible wow week in spite of yourselves. We're out of here.